Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and hello, welcome if you are new. And as you can tell by today's title, I will be sharing with you my fountain pen collection for this year. This is something that I want to continue doing each year because I don't always show like a new fountain pen day video every single time I get a new pen. So I thought it'd be nice to share my collection and where it's at now in comparison to kind of this time last year, and just see how we've gotten on with selling pens and new acquisitions and all of that good stuff. So stick around, we're gonna talk through my collection, and I can tell that this is probably going to be a long one, so grab something to eat, grab a snack, grab a hot drink, whatever you fancy, and let's get to it. Okay, so starting from the left here, they are sorted by brand. So starting from the left, we have my Leonardos. So the first one here is my Leonardo, if I can get it out, Leonardo Memento Magico in Desert Sand. This is a Estilo SD exclusive, and it is a piston fill, so there's a little ink window there. And this is in a fine nib. Really enjoy this one. It really does look like it has little grains of sand in there, but yeah, fun. And then the next one is another Leonardo and Stilo SD collaboration, limited edition, and this is their newer one, which is Kintsugi, which, as you can see, is like a clear demonstrator but with this gold veining throughout. Really pretty. And this also has a fine nib in there, and this just uses a standard converter that comes with it. And what I love with Leonardo's is like they feel so comfortable in my hand, and they have quite nice big nibs, and if I'm not mistaken they use Jowo nibs, which is the same as Esterbrook SDs, or Esterbrook in general, which is why I like them. So then my next Leonardo is this one that I got at the London Pen Show, so you might have seen this already if you've watched that video. This is the Memento Zero in Giada, which translates to Jade, I believe. Don't know what that was on there. But yeah, this has gold hardware as well. And this is an extra fine nib, just there. I got this in an extra fine after I got this one, because when I first got this was my first Leonardo, and it's a fine, as I said, and I just found it wrote so broadly for a fine. I wasn't used to it, so I went for an extra fine with this one. When I tried it at the pen show, it was really lovely, and then I got it home and it was just a bit scratchy, and I was a little bit disappointed with it, but I recently got some micro mesh and it has really sorted this one out, so it writes very nicely now. I love the cracked like ice kind of effect that they have. And then the next one is my Platinum and Hachimonjoya collaboration, which is in the first snow model, so it's like this really pale pinkish ivory barrel with like shimmery specks in it, if you can see, and then the two finials on the end are a bit more of a pale pink, and it has rose gold hardware, and this is a 14 karat nib, I believe. It's in an extra fine as well. It's all that the reseller had left at the time, which was fine. And the nib has engraving of Orion's belt star constellation on there, and I did a video of like unboxing this because this was my grail pen, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it because A, it's so expensive, and B, I really do love it. It might not be like my most favourite writer in the whole group, but it's definitely up there. And I just love like the size of the nib and things. Like, I love a nib like this, and I love the shape of the Platinum Century 3776 as well. And I recently, literally this week, sold my other Century 3776 in burgundy, and it had an ultra extra fine nib, which was just a bit too fine for me, so I did decide to sell that. And then this next pen was also on the selling list, but no one has bought it yet, so I might draw the price a little bit more, but I'm also quite tempted to keep it as well. But at the same time, whenever I pick it up, I'm like, it's so big. But this is the Esterbrook SD Nouveau Blue, and this is an oversized version of an SD, which I don't know if they make too many of anymore, but just for size comparison, this is my regular winter white next to it, and as you can see, the oversize is taller, and it is like wider as well on the grip here, and then uncapped, like, yeah, just a little bit bigger, especially around like here as well, but the nibs are the same. So for this SD, I got it second hand, but the person hadn't even used it. She literally like bought it in July, new, hadn't inked it. I think she had dipped it like once, and it was on eBay within like a few weeks, and I got a good price on it, and I was excited to have another SD, and actually having this one kind of reignited my love for SDs, because my first one, my Tortoise, I had quite a bit of trouble with it, and I'll explain more when I get to that pen, but I had a bit of trouble with it in the beginning, and this one was the first one that I had with like the gold nib. It's not an actual like, you know, 14 karat gold nib kind of thing, but it's a gold coloured nib, and yeah, this just writes very, very smooth. It has a medium in here. I also have a fine, like a spare fine nib, which I had in here for a while. Well, I had in here for quite a long time, and then I put the medium back in here to sell, but it still has ink in it, so I have been using it with the medium literally like once this week, and now I'm like, should I just take it off or not? But anyway, the next pen that I have here is one that is relatively cheap or affordable, and I really, really like it. I really, really do. This is the Asvine V126, and this is in the transparent teal colour. I believe this is supposed to be like a copy or similar to the Pilot Custom 823. It is a vac fill, and it's my first vac filling pen, and I just really like vac fills now. But this is so pretty as well. I really love the colour. I had seen this like up and down like Amazon and stuff when you're scrolling on there, and they recommend you things, and I had seen it on there before, but then I saw Danielle from my Dandelion Diaries. She had this pen, and I was like, I've been wanting that, but I hadn't seen anyone actually have it. and she said she really liked it, so I got it and I really like it. And I think she said that she's tempted to get some other colours, and I mean, I can absolutely see why, because I'm in the same mindset as well. I think at first they just had 4 colours, like a clear with gold, or like a white frosted one with gold, like an amber colour with gold, and then this, oh no, the like frosted blue with gold as well, and then they came out with this one, and now they have like a matte grey, like transparent matte grey with black, matte black hardware. They've got like these 2 swirly patterned ones as well, and I just can't make up my mind, because I'll be honest, the matte black one looks very chic as well. But yeah, this is in a fine nib. Does it actually say on there? I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure this is a fine nib. I'm pretty sure I did order this on Amazon, because the price to AliExpress was very similar, and on Amazon you're going to get it quicker, like, well, I got it next day, and AliExpress is usually a week or 2, so I did get it on Amazon. I'm pretty sure this is a fine, but it does write quite broad for a fine, more like a medium, but I really like it, and I love this vac fill. I put Chichen Itza in here like quite a while ago, and it's still going. I still have a fair bit going on in there. And then this next one is up for sale if anyone is interested, but it obviously hasn't sold yet, so it's still sitting here. It's the Kaweco Student in the 60s swing colourway, which is the green cap. I really love the vintage, like, school feel and look of this, but I have to say I am not really a fan of a metal grip section like this. I don't mind metal grip if it has maybe like even a little bit of threading or something, just something to actually grip onto, because otherwise my fingers are sliding around. But also this is in an extra fine, and you can see that that nib is quite small, and the extra fine nib, like on this one, is just a bit scratchy, which is a shame. I mean, it's scratchy for me, but yeah, it does write very fine for me, and I'm preferring my Kaweco Sports, to be honest, which is a shame, because this is very nice. It's very pretty to look at as well, but yeah, so that one is up for sale. And then the next one, I was debating whether this one should be up for sale, but every time I use it I just think it is so fun to use. This is the Sailor Progress Slim in the Cocktail series, and this is the White Russian model. So it has this kind of caramel solid coloured cap, and this kind of like bourbon whiskey coloured transparent body and finials, and the nib I was so unsure of, but I really liked the look of it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. And this is a music nib from Sailor, which I had never tried, and it's like a stub really, but even then I don't even have any stub nibs, so yeah. But every time I use it I'm like, this is so fun to write with. I've been writing like titles and stuff this week with it, so I don't use it every single day. I don't even use it like once a week or anything, to be honest, which is really a shame, because I really should, especially like uni notes. Like, why don't I just write my titles and stuff with it? I don't know, but it's so fun, like, to write with a music nib every once in a while. Like, I really like my handwriting with it, and then yeah, It's just so smooth, and it's one of the Sailor 14 karat nibs. So yeah, and it's nice to look at as well. It goes very nicely with the kind of colour scheme we have. I'm going on a little bit, but you know. And then the next one is my first ever Sailor pen, which is the Sailor Pro Gear model. So it is larger here, as you can see, but this is my preferred size, and the Pro Gears have a 21 karat gold nib, which is just divine. So this is the Christmas Spice Tea from their Tea Time series, and as you can see, it kind of has a red transparent body with glitter in it. The cap is like orange transparent with glitter, and then the finial here is a solid brown. The finial here is just red as well, and the logo is a red background for Christmas. But yeah, this has a medium nib, 21 karat, as I said. So buttery smooth to write with. This is one of my favourite writers in my whole collection. Probably number one, to be honest. Maybe number two. Like, this and an SD are very close up there, but I think because I know this is a gold nib, I kind of want to put it first, just because it is a gold nib. But it just writes so beautifully, and yeah, it might, like, sometimes it goes with, like, if I'm trying to go for an aesthetic, like at the moment it's very like creams and browns, and I can kind of squeeze it in there, but sometimes it doesn't, but I kind of just make it work because I'm like, I have to make it work. I can't get rid of it because I got such a good price on it actually from Stilo and Stile, and I don't think you're going to be able to get another Pro Gear Slim for like less than £200. So there we go. And then this one is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim again in the, I think it's Magetsu, also known as Harvest Moon. So it's this like ivory coloured body with black finials, and in my head I call it like my panda pen because of the black and white. And yeah, this is a medium fine nib. It was my first medium fine actually from Sailor, and it's like, I think a medium fine would be my perfect nib size if like all my pens had it, because sometimes fine is a bit too fine, but then depending on the brand, like, they can make them quite a bit thicker than I'm used to. So a medium fine is like the perfect in between kind of size for me. I really like it. It currently doesn't have a converter in it because I have it in a different pen that needs it. So this one has been sitting patiently waiting to be used. And then this Sailor, which is my most recent one, Pro Gear Slim, it's from the Japanese Sweets series, which I think this colourway is called Manju, I want to say. And it has this, it's a really interesting colour actually. It's like a taupey brown with a very warm pink undertone to the body, so it's like right up my alley. And the finials on the end are like a slightly lighter, more beige colour. And this is also a medium fine. I did actually originally order a fine for this, and then I used I sold my other one this week, which is the like Solar Term series one, the Hagi, which is pink with shimmer or glitter in it, and it has like minty green blue finials. That one I had ordered in a fine and it was just a bit too fine for me, and I used that one, and then I was like, I need to contact Cult Pens and tell them I want to switch it out for a medium fine, and it was on pre-order anyway, so they were able to like just swap it over. Took forever to arrive, but it finally got here. By forever I mean like 4 months since I pre-ordered it, so I don't know if I will pre-order from Cult Pens unless they give me a specific date in mind next time. But yeah, here we are. So I do feel like this one in particular though has written a bit more broad than this medium fine, but you know. And then I'll talk about these two quickly together because they are quite new, and they are Pilot Cocoonos from the Majohn, I think, series, which is like the sleepy series or drowsy series. The word drowsy, like drowsy series, just makes me laugh because I just think of like, or not laugh because I shouldn't really say that, but I just think of like maybe someone who's drunk and they're a bit drowsy and like falling over themselves. But anyway, when I saw these I was like, oh my god, I really like those, and so many people talk about the Cocoonos and how good they are for the price, so I decided to get them, and Stilo & Steel had a great price on these, and they were going to arrive quicker than ordering on AliExpress, which actually was more expensive than Stilo & Steel, so I grabbed them there. I have the pink and the darker like blue colour, and the more I think about it, the more I want the other ones. But I really love them, and I love that these have gold coloured nibs as well. So I have my pink in medium and my blue in a fine. And then my next one is from the new Jinhao 10 series, which is, as we all know, a dupe of the Pilot capless fountain pen. And I got my first Jinhao 10 I think maybe back in January or maybe even December, I want to say. Got it quite early on, and then kind of other people realised like it was out, especially across YouTube here, and I had always wanted like a pink coloured one. Well, when they first came out, I saw them. I wanted the pink, and I also wanted the coffee kind of gradient one, the brown gradient, but they were out of stock on both of them. And the only other one that I liked was the like blue to cream gradient, which is kind of like a copy of the Seashore limited edition from Pilot. So that's the one that I ordered first. I managed to get that for like £10. Then this one and my gradient one I got not too long ago, and the seller on AliExpress called 365 Stationery Store. I've ordered from their store on AliExpress quite a lot in the past for pens, and they actually can customize your Jinhao 10 with a zodiac animal on there for you. So I chose a bunny. I'm not the year of the bunny or anything, but I'm sure you guys know by now I have 2 bunnies. If you didn't know, now you do. I have 2 bunnies, and actually last year's actually coming up to almost his 1-year anniversary, or our 1-year anniversary of losing Joey, who's my first bunny as an adult, my first pet as an adult. And he'd been with me like since I was 19, 20 years old, and I turned 30 this year, so he was with me for almost 10 years, and I kind of feel like this is a little bit of an homage to him in a way, because his ears were always like one ear up and one ear down. But I kind of said to myself that this year I wanted to get a rabbit themed pen, because there are quite a few pens out there that do like whatever year like zodiac it is, they do it. So I think the year of the rabbit was 2023 if I correct, or maybe 2022. So there were some at the time, but they're obviously limited editions, they're not really around anymore. They're either hard to get or they're expensive now. So yeah, I have this one and I have it in pink, which is just ideal for me. And then that is the first tray, so let's move to the second here. So in my second tray here I have my two, I actually have three hand-turned pens, but I have this one which is from Scribe Pens, which you can find on Etsy and you can find him on Instagram as well. And this is, he doesn't really have names for his pens. I think behind Scribe Pens his name is David, I want to say. And I fell in love with this resin. It's like a silver, grey and gold and white, but it's a diamond cast, so it's just stunning. And I really like, with hand-turned pens, this look of just like a blunt kind of ends to it, but I really love this. It has a fine Bock nib, I believe, and he gave me a bottle of ink with it, which was Diamine Sand Between Your Toes. He gave me a pen roll with it, gave me ink cartridges, converter, like the whole lot. Everything you need to get going basically, but it's really nice to hold in the hand as well, and I love the colours of it. And then my second hand-turned pen that I had bought was this one, second hand, but this is a Brooks Blank called Kaweco, I believe. And this kind of bottom half of the pen just makes me think of shaken iced espressos and coffee and things, and then you have orange and shimmer up here. It's beautiful. So this is from the London Pen Company, and this is in the Christopher 14, I think, model. And this has a Bock fine nib on it as well. I love a fine nib. So yes, and then the next one here is a Jinhao 82 in this really lovely, pretty, transparent pink colour. And I was lucky enough to get this in a medium nib, because sometimes I find with my Jinhao fine nibs they can be a bit scratchy, but this medium nib writes very, very nicely, and there is a shimmer ink in here and it does very, very well with it. And I really like the colour of this, and you really wouldn't think this costs like £3 on AliExpress. They are really really handy pens just to throw in your pencil case or for travelling, if you don't really care too much about them. And I had 4 or 5 of these Jinhao 82s, but I somehow managed to break 2 because I took the finials off to interchange them and ended up breaking them. Well, just basically I can't get the finials back on, and then I think maybe I sold one. I can't remember, but you know, there we are. And then this next one is the Jinhao 10 seashore that I was talking about, so it's like blue here, cream here. And so this is the first one, and I think, yeah, I know some people have been saying that like the little door to close the pen has been a bit of a problem and hasn't been closing properly, and it's causing evaporation issues, but I've not had that with my pens, so yeah. But I like this one. I don't entirely know that I need it anymore now that I have my others, but maybe it's nice to have, and maybe this is the one that I'll take like traveling and things and whatnot. And then these next two are my Majohn A1s. So I bought the white one first in a fine, I think, nib, and yeah, I really liked it. I was very impressed. These do say Moonman on them, and the same here. And there are plenty of videos comparing the Majohn A1s to the Jinhao 10s and the Pilot Vanishing Points, so I'm not going to kind of do a whole video on them or anything because there are so many now. But I think these are the most similar to the Vanishing Point. They are more expensive than the Jinhao 10s, but I feel like they have a bit more weight to them. Yeah, they are a bit weightier and kind of feel a bit more, just a touch more expensive than the Jinhaos, but very similar, very similar. So yeah, they write really nicely. So I ordered this one and I really liked how it wrote, and I very quickly wanted the black one, so I ordered the black. And this is inked exclusively with Pilot. No, it's not. It's inked exclusively with Platinum Carbon Black, which always seems to make a mess of the nib, but oh well. Like, just, it covers the nib like that, as you can see, but it doesn't cause any issues while I'm writing with it, and it doesn't dry out or anything, so I just let it be, because no matter how many times I wipe it, it happens again. My next two pens here are Ferris Wheel Press Carousel pens here. So the top one is, Winking Embers, and the bottom one, the colour is French Vanilla. I got the French Vanilla one for free with a Ferris Wheel Press order, and I was actually quite pleasantly surprised by it, considering it was free. And they are like cheap pens. I'm probably not going to pay full price for them, but they come with pretty decent converters. Like, that is quite a good amount of ink that you could fit in there. And the converters have, this one's a bit crusty, but they have little ball bearings inside them to stop ink spilling, like if you take it out, which is very handy. But I found that they write really smoothly. So this is in a fine nib, and I was so pleasantly surprised by this, that on Black Friday Art from the Heart had a really good price on a couple of them, so I decided to pick another one up, because I think, again, they're really great for travelling, because they're kind of ones that I don't care about, especially considering this one was literally free. Yeah, they are cheap, but they're like cheap and cheerful kind of ones. I guess they're kind of most similar to the Pilot Cocoonos, like in terms of maybe like the weight and how they feel and things, but the Cocoonos I do care more about than these. So when it comes to travelling, I'll probably be just chucking these in the bag, wishing for the best kind of thing. This next pen is the Parker Sonnet, and it is one that was gifted to me for my birthday quite some time ago from Dylan, my partner, and he put our anniversary date engraved on here, which you can do at Penhaven, I think. So this is in the ivory and rose gold colourway. It has an 18 carat gold nib, which I didn't realise at the time, so I feel very privileged to have it. And yeah, it writes very nicely, the nib. I would say, I don't know for definite because it didn't say on the box and it doesn't say on the nib either, but it writes most similarly to a medium or like a medium to fine nib. But even though it's like not the largest nib, it does write very nicely. The only thing is this is obviously targeted as like a lady's pen, but it is quite narrow, which usually be fine, but it's when it's narrow up here for me, it does hurt my hand, and the metal grip section does start to hurt my grip after a while. It's not the worst because it is like a brushed matte finish, so my fingers aren't really slipping as much, but it's not, you know, the most ideal. So I do use this still. It is inked, if you couldn't tell. I just don't do necessarily long writing sessions or anything with it because it is a lot, but yeah. It doesn't have a twist cap lid, but the cap, I do feel some kind of like seal mechanism, and it's very hard to attach to that. And then the next ones here in this tray are my Lamys, so I'll talk about all three of them very quickly. So this pink one was my first one, and this is, I want to say, either the 2018 or the 2019 exclusive edition colour, pale pink. I didn't realise it was limited edition at the time, but I just saw it in I think Ryman's. We were just like in the shop one day and I saw that they had it, and this was quite early on in my fountain pen journey, and yeah, I saw that they had it and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get it because it was on sale as well, and I hadn't had one and I wanted to try it. So they had medium nibs, that's all they had, so I just grabbed it, and I was like, yeah, quite like it, it's okay, and didn't really pick it up much again after that. But then in New York, when we went in 2023, at the end of 2023, we were at the Empire State Building in the gift shop, and I really wanted to get something from New York that was a bit more of a significant souvenir, that was actually like purposeful and I could use. And I kind of wanted to come away with a fountain pen from the trip as like a souvenir, but I didn't have time to end up going to fountain pen stores like Fountain Pen Hospital, for example. So I saw this in the Empire State Building gift shop, which is a Lamy Safari, of course. I think there's something stuck under there, and it has Empire State Building just printed on the side here. And I decided to pick this up in a fine nib. I mean, the thing with Lamy Safaris, well, any Lamys, is you can remove the nibs very easily. They literally just slide off, so very handy. And yeah, I do like these. They're just not things that I pick up all the time, especially because I don't have a converter for this one. I'm converter short when it comes to Lamys, but yeah, I like that, you know, these two are both like kind of special ones. And then this one, I thought maybe the thing that I am struggling with Lamys is that they are very light, and I think I need a little bit more weight, especially on the back end, for it to feel like better, because I was having that with my Kaweco Sports, and I got like one of the AL Sports, and I found that I much prefer writing with that one because of the weight of it. So I decided to look into a Lamy All-Star and also a Lamy LX, and this Lamy LX in Majohn was on Amazon at a very good price. It was almost half price, like the same, like a very similar price to the All-Star, which is only a little bit more expensive than these actually. And I really like the colour of this one with the kind of bronze copper clip. So I picked this one up, and it has the coated nib as well, which is a different nib to the Safaris, but this is a coated nib, and the only nib size that they had that was for this discounted price was an extra fine, so I decided to get it. I was a little bit unsure of how we would go, but have been very pleasantly surprised with it. And yeah, I do have a scented ink from the ink event calendar in here, because I thought I like to use those in extra fine nibs so that they write, because they're very wet inks anyway, so yeah, they do write very nicely in here, so I'm happy with this. And then lastly in this tray, please ignore the nibs and the converters there, is this one, which I think I showed in my last collection video, which this just kind of just sits dormant in the tray, and it's just every time I look at it I just feel sorry for it. But this is a vintage pen that I picked up on eBay. It's a Mentmore Supreme, which is made in England, and I believe this model, from what research or what I have found, is possibly made in the 1940s. So crazy, you know, this pen is like older than my parents. It has a tiny little nib, but I dipped this pen when I got it and I was like, that writes really nicely. It is a gold nib. Writes very nicely. It's like a little cute little pen. I really like the look of it, the colours and everything, and I thought, oh, it'd be a nice little restoration project, you know. The seller said they didn't really know, like, it probably needs a, like, they said it's in working condition, but it probably needs a replacement ink sac, and I was like, that's fine, I can do that. Boy oh boy, this has just been like completely mess, I think. It's a button which presses a mechanism inside which squeezes the ink sac to fill the sac with ink, but I just could not get, I still can't get the grip section off, and there are like marks and dents in here from where I've tried loads of different things to get this off. I've tried soaking this in warm water like plenty of times. It's just been an absolute disaster, and in the end I managed to, like, kind of, I had removed this and looked down the barrel inside and saw like little tiny shards of basically crusted ink sac that had just basically decomposed over time, just disintegrated completely. So there is literally no ink sac in here anymore. It's all just crumbled up into tiny little pieces and fallen out of the bottom. So then I tried to use it as an ink dropper, and it worked for an hour, and then it all dried out. So yeah, it's not an ink dropper or an eyedropper. It will be a dip only unless I can get someone to open this up, but it's like near impossible. I don't know what else to do with it. I was thinking of selling it, but I also kind of have an attachment to it at the same time. through just a lot of time and effort trying to get this pen open, but you know, it is what it is. So then the next tray here, the bottom tray, I'll just move this one down. So this tray is obviously my Twsbis on the left, Kaweco's on the right, and then some other bits and pieces. So we have here my Twsbi Ecos. I have one over here on my pen tray that I'm using at the moment. So let me just add this in. Let me move it over there so they're all together. So my Twsbi Ecos, so I have the 3 from the breakfast series. Ooh, here. So I got them in order that they came out, which was the cream first. I asked, this came out like maybe just before Christmas in 2023, and I asked for it for Christmas, so I got that. I got it in an extra fine, which I actually really enjoy because I put another one of the Ink Vent scented inks. I put Cinnabon in here, which I really love. If you have problems with Cinnabon or any of the other scented inks feathering, please just try it in an extra fine. I promise you, like, get the finest nib that you own if you can, put it in there and it will not feather. I mean, I've not had problems with this feathering onto my river paper, like in my sterling ink planner, and I have used Cinnabon in this pen. Like, I've only recently put it in this pen again, but I used it first January 2024 and didn't have any problems then. I have not had any problems now, so yeah, really like that. And then the next one I got, obviously the Cafe Latte or Cafe Bronze. This one is a broad nib, which isn't my preference of nibs, as I'm sure you guys know, but I got this one secondhand on Vinted. I saw someone selling it and I was like, yes please. You can switch these nibs out, so that is an option, but basically I don't want to get rid of it because I really like the colour and things, and I do like that I can just put shimmer in here instead and just write with a shimmer. But I do find that Twsbi's, like, well, Twsbi Ecos don't necessarily do the best with shimmer inks, but having said that, this one has been okay. But yeah, I won't get rid of it unless like the same pen comes along in a fine or a medium nib. Otherwise I will just hold on to it. And then the most recent one obviously came out last month was the espresso colour, so a darker brown, and I really love this one. I have this in a fine nib, which I've been absolutely loving. I just feel like I haven't written with a Twsbi Eco in a while because fine nib is my favourite, and I have not gravitated towards my other fine nibs, which are these two here. But before we go to those, I'll just show you my black one quickly. This is the Smoke and Rose Gold, which was my first one. I've got this one second hand as well, but it's in a medium nib, which was my preferred at the time. And I still like a medium nib on a Eco, but as I said, a fine is my preferred. And yeah, these all have brown inks in them, including this one, so you know, there we are. Not much to say about that. And then these two are both fine nibs. So this mint green limited edition is actually an Eco T, so it's like a triangular shape, like everywhere. So it's triangular there, triangular not on the like ink tank, I guess, but the grip section is triangular as well. It's supposed to be more ergonomic, but I just find all Twsbi Ecos comfortable. But yeah, I do really like these, and I like them. Oh dear, I like them together as well. The pink and the mint. It's just like sometimes I'm very much into my more browns and beiges over here, and then sometimes I'm into pastels, but more often than not I'm into the browns. So, you know, pink and pale pink and mint green are not necessarily going to match everything that I have in terms of, you know, my planner and things like that, but you know, they're here and I have them. I was thinking of selling both of them, but I feel like I would maybe regret it, especially probably the pink one, because I did have to ask on Reddit if anyone had it, and I spent a little bit more than its retail value, but I feel like it was an okay price considering like the prices on eBay for this at the moment are like very expensive. And then we move to my little Kaweco Sports over here. So I have, right, this one was the first one, which is the Fox, so it's an orange. This is extra fine, and I just had black ink cartridges in here for quite a while, and I would just use this like on the go, but this one is up for sale at the moment. I'm also thinking of selling this one, which is the iridescent pearl, and this is a fine nib, I believe. Yes, this is a fine nib. I do like this one. I think it goes like nicely with this pink, but at the same time I also just don't really use it that much. I use these three the most, so unsure. And then this one is a limited edition one. This is the Hello Kitty collaboration, their 50th anniversary. So this is the 2023, and it has Hello Kitty written there with the little bow. I don't know if you can see it. I did a video on this though, and a little Hello Kitty face on the nib as well. This was only sold in a fine nib, which, as I said, is my most preferred nib, so I was absolutely fine with it. But yeah, it comes with like the normal like tin, and a keychain and sticker sheet. Came with the clip as well, and this is like an AL sport, so has a lot more weight to it, and it's a lot nicer for me to write with because of the added weight. And then I saw this one and I thought, after that one I'm not going to get any more regular Kaweco Sports, I'll just get the like aluminium or the bronze and things like that. But I saw this one and I thought, that one is so cute, and it very much reminds me actually of this espresso Twsbi. It's like they're the same colour. I mean, so cute. But this is the Kaweco Sport. This is the Fontaplumo limited edition one, exclusive to Fontaplumo. It's called Chocolate Brown, and I just bought the little vintage style clip for this one, and I just think it's so cute and I love it, and it looks like a little like Kit Kat or something. I mean, yeah. And I've just been loving having like brown ink obviously in here, so yeah, this writes very, very nicely. This is a fine nib as well, but you know, I love my brown ones. What can I say? I think a lot of us do. And then on Black Friday, Art from the Heart had Kaweco Art Sports for a very good price. They only had one nib size left when I got to them though, and that was a broad nib. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try anyway. And I actually quite like writing with this, surprisingly, for a broad nib. I think it's nice to have like one or two like nibs that you don't really use that often but still fun to write with. Very much like that Sailor Zoom, or not Zoom, music nib. But yeah, I really like this. I was a little bit disappointed when it arrived actually, because I thought it would have more weight to it. I didn't realise it would be like the same kind of plastic feel as the regular Sport. But it does have the clip attached, but I'm very glad that I didn't pay full price for this, let's just say that. I think the price I paid was very close to like half the price, so yeah, I think that's what it's worth, to be honest. But I do really like it. I liked all the art sports, to be honest, but this one in particular has the most colour variations in it. Like, it has the cream, it has blue, it has brown, and it has this like more beigey grey tone to it, and also a caramel tone. I feel like you could literally choose any of those colours to ink this pen with and they would all match. So at the moment I have a blue in here that's kind of similar to the blue here, and it has shimmer in it because it's a broad nib, and anytime I have a broad or a medium nib, I'm like, I can put my shimmer inks in there. So yeah, that's what I have in there. And then the last few in this tray, this is my other Jinhao 10. It is the coffee gradient or caramel gradient, depending on your AliExpress seller, I guess. But it looked shiny on the picture, so when it arrived I didn't expect it to be matte, but I guess if it's trying to copy the Pilot Capless in whiskey, that is matte. But I really like it. I like the matte finish. I feel like it's different. It matches like all my other, you know, brown pens and things together. Just very nice. And yeah, this is a fine nib as well, but I do find this one writes a little bit more scratchy in terms of like, compared to like, if I'm comparing this and the Majohn A1s, I do prefer the writing experience of the Majohn A1s, but I just wish they would come in the colours like this. But you can get even the Majohn nibs would fit in here, and so do the Pilot ones, so maybe I'll just change it out for a Majohn one instead, and it'll be happy days. And then the last one for this tray is my little Taylor Swift one. I mean, I couldn't not include it. I do actually use this. So this is the Taylor Swift from like TTPD merch store, Taylor Swift's merch store. It is a working fountain pen. It's actually quite nice to write with, I have to say. I like that the cap just screws on the back. It has threads here, so you can just screw it on, and it's nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. It is thin. It is narrow. The metal grip section isn't too big though, and I do have the threads there, which I know that most people probably wouldn't like them there, but I actually do, because it gives me something to actually grip onto. Like, it has a bit of friction or texture, you know. But yeah, it's nice, and it's nice to have a piece of merch that is functional as well. But the only thing with this is, like, it doesn't really fit cartridges very well. It doesn't really fit converters very well, to be honest. I have a Kaweco cartridge in here, but I had to really kind of squeeze it around to fit, because this bit's really quite thin. But yeah, it did come with like a standard international cartridge, and that fit, and I didn't really understand why the Kaweco one wouldn't, because they're the same, but you know, there we are. So that is it for my trays. And then, oh wait, let me just put this one back, because, oh no, I had this one. Because I have my like little currently inked tray over here. So see, I have talked about this Twsbi, but the next one below is from London Pen Co. Again, this is the same model as my other one, but it's the junior version, so it's like a little bit littler. It's not a pocket pen or anything, but it is a tiny bit shorter. And this is in a Brooks Blank called Water Lily Koi. Absolutely gorgeous. I just really loved the just really loved the purple and pink magenta tones running through like the greeny yellows, just absolutely lovely. And then I decided to upgrade to an extra fine imperial nib, which is ground by Twsbi. Really nice, and it's really nice to have something different as well. And I love that. See, these nibs are all interchangeable because they're Bock nibs, so love that one. Very comfortable to write with, and I always gravitate towards the colours of it because it's just so pretty. So this next one is the Sailor Prophet Junior, I believe, in the transparent brown. I really like the shape of this one. I feel like the other cigar shaped pens aren't as like pointed at the ends, which this one is. But yeah, I really like the shape of this, and I thought I would give it a try because I don't have any Sailor steel nibs, and this was a really good price on a Black Friday. So this is a medium fine. It has their like clear plastic nib feed, but I really like it, so I decided to pull it out again to write with this week, and we'll see how we go with it this week. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it. I feel like it does write a little bit more broad than my medium fine Sailor gold nibs, but that's okay. I do have a shimmer in here as well, and it's been handling it very well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think this is a good pen to get if you're kind of starting out, or you want to try Sailor pens but maybe you don't want to fork out on a gold nib just yet. And then next one is one that I wanted to get my hands on for a while, but I just did not like the price, I have to tell you. This is the Twsbi Diamond Mini in white rose gold, and the Twsbi Diamond Mini, the full version in white and rose gold, is £95, I think, and the mini version is also £95, even though it's like half of the price. Just could not understand it. And if you get the clear version of this, or the black version with like silver trim, it's like £40, and I just couldn't understand why this one was so much more. If you get a Twsbi Eco, like the standard line ones are £35-ish, and the one with the bronze or the rose gold or the matte black trims are £49, and I feel percentage wise like that price jump is nowhere near as much as the price jump for the Diamond 580 Mini. Just didn't make sense. But I saw someone selling this secondhand on Facebook. I jumped at it because I was like, that is exactly the one I want in the nib size that I want, which is a fine, and for the price point that I wanted to spend, which was about £50. So yes, it took a bit of a faff to get here, just, you know, logistics I guess, but yeah, I'm liking it. I mean, to be honest, I did push a bright green shimmer ink in here. This is, I think, Merry and Bright from the Ink Band calendar. Not my go-to ink, nowhere near a go-to ink for me, but I wanted to put something in here that was very Christmassy, and as you can tell, I did not write much with it over Christmas because we're now towards the end of March and there's still quite a bit of ink in there. But yeah, so I might get rid of that and put something that I'm more likely to write with in there. But yeah, I think this is great size again for travelling with. I probably wouldn't put it in my pen case, like actual pencil case, just chucked in with all pencils and things, but you know, pen slot case, then yes. Or I would put it in the pen slot of like my planner, for example. And then lastly, I have my two, I guess, regular size SDs. These are two of my favourite pens in my whole collection. So my two SDs here, I have my tortoise on the top and my winter white on the bottom. So my tortoise one, I originally had this in with silver hardware, and I bought it second hand from quite a reputable seller in the UK, and he had it for such a good price. I want to say less than £100. So, and I had wanted an Esterbrook SD for a long time, and it had originally a medium nib on it, I think, and I was like, oh, I really want to try a flex nib, just in general. And I was like, you know what, I can get a flex nib for an Esterbrook SD and you can just swap them out. It's like really easy to do. So I bought that, put it on, obviously in the silver to match everything else, and it just, like, it was fine. It was just kind of doing its thing, I have to be honest. But it got stuck in the pen. I could not get it out. My dinner tried for me and everything, I just couldn't get it out to replace it back to a medium. And I wasn't using it. And I kind of had gone off SDs because I thought, if this is my experience, I'm not really enjoying myself. Like, the nib, like, doesn't seem as good as what everyone is saying, but you know, like, people have differing opinions. I took it to the London Pen Show, and because Esterbrook were actually there for one of the first times, and Brian from Esterbrook had a look and said, you know what, they did have an issue with the older Jovo nibs, and he said, well, look, I would swap it for you, but I don't have like I don't have any with silver hardware, I only have gold left. I was like, oh, that's fine, like, honestly, it's fine. So he gave this to me, took my other one, gave this to me. Feel very, very lucky and thankful to Esterbrook and to Brian for giving this to me. And he also gave me the flex fine nib because I did pay obviously the extra on top, and I still have that older medium nib. I'm probably not going to put it in any of my pens now because I'm a bit scared, but I do have a regular, like, gold nib to put in. But yeah, this has become one of my favourite pens again, so I'm really, really happy with that. And then I got the Winter White SD. I just love the cracked ice kind of look of this. Yeah, I really love it. And I had originally seen this for ages on Instagram. A lady called Coco Plans, who you might have seen on Instagram, had this pen like for the longest time before it came out. I think it was one of the prototypes that they had sent her, and she was like, yeah, it's coming, just like stay with us. And I was like, you know what, when it comes out, that's the one that I want to get. Like, I just absolutely love it. Came out and I didn't get it straight away, but then I decided to get it and I got it in a fine. I absolutely love it. It writes so nice and smoothly. It takes shimmer inks like an absolute champ. I have Diamine. It's actually a mix that I made myself at the pen show. I have that in here. I love that because it is white. I can put literally any colour of ink in here. I don't really know what else to say, but I love the nib, you know, I love a Jovo nib. Love that they're interchangeable. They are so comfortable to write with, they're like the perfect size. Yeah, I think, like, when I first started collecting all of these fountain pens, I really wanted to collect SDs in like every single colour, and then I had a bit of a problem with my tortoise and I didn't really want to anymore. I'd kind of gone off them, and now I just back to loving them again because I've had such a great experience writing with them, but also in person as well, and they have some really stunning like colorways and things with the SDs, and I would love to try also some of their button fill pens and their piston fill pens that they've like been redoing and things. Like, I think I would love to get a Raven with a button fill. It's like the matte black one. But they have a new one coming out, which is the collaboration with Coffee Monsters Co. That comes out, I think, comes out 2 weeks today. And the money that I have from selling my pens I've kind of put aside, and I've been like, hey, if I'm gonna get it, I'll use that money. But even though that money was supposed to go towards Orlando trip, but never mind. But anyway, that was the fountain pen collection for 2025. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm very thankful if you have decided to stick with me. I now need to go and get a drink because my mouth is very dry. I don't think I've talked for this long in a very long time. But yeah, any questions on anything, please let me know. Be happy to answer in the comments as always. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.